Today I'm talking about the new romance horror comedy, Your Monster. This stars the incredible Melissa Barrera, and the basic premise is Melissa has been in this long-term relationship. Unfortunately, she gets cancer, so dude bails, but then as she's dealing with that, this monster from her closet appears, and maybe things get a little hot and steamy. It's pretty solid. I enjoyed this movie a good solid amount. They nailed the romance aspect of it. I just was so longing for these people to be together and to find joy in one another. It was hilarious too. Again, Melissa would just crush it with a comedy, but everyone really nailed it. I mean, her over-the-top crying was priceless. It happened so much, but she knew how to strike that chord between absurd and realistic, and just comedy gold. I found the story in and of itself really interesting, and then like fundamentally it's clear what the metaphor for the movie is, because it starts off with text that says this is based on a true story, and then the word ish goes next to true. So it's meant not to be taken as literal. Yeah, there's a monster here, but this is still vaguely based in reality, so the monster is really a metaphor for something. And it's pretty clear early on that the metaphor is for like her self-confidence, her rage and anger in a sense, and it's standing up for herself, having confidence in herself, falling in love with herself, which I love that metaphor. That's a really great, really solid metaphor. My issue with the movie comes from the end, that the metaphor stops working, that it goes from a very metaphorical, whimsical story to suddenly this very real, very intense thing is happening. And obviously, since this is based on a true story-ish, this ending is not what happened in real life. And I get what it's going for, but it just feels so extreme and so tonally different that it just doesn't work. Plus, it's really sudden. Plus, part of the emotions of that rely on the main character not realizing something that I realized like an hour earlier in the movie. So it just all felt kind of strange. Okay, let me do spoilers real quick. So what happens in the end is she discovers that her best friend has been secretly sleeping with her ex-boyfriend, which is very clear from the get-go. She finds out right at the end when she's like gonna have this big cathartic moment of getting to sing on Broadway finally. Instead of having like her moment to shine, she has a big fight with her ex-boyfriend during the intermission, and in that moment the monster comes back and the monster then brutally kills him. But really she kills him. And it's like metaphorically it makes sense to kill him because that's her finally like letting go of him, getting over him, moving past him, just believing in herself, not letting this piece of shit guy tear her down. And there's this recurring joke about the monster wants to tear out someone's throat, and he finally tears out someone's throat at the end. So that makes sense. It's true payoff, but like it doesn't work because it doesn't fit with how the movie was flowing. It felt like they had an idea for the end of the movie and they were building towards something, but those two things didn't line up, but they still just like forced them to line up, and that didn't work. Plus, like having her commit such a violent act makes her a very unlikable person. Like, yeah, this guy is a douchebag, but like they're not together anymore. The person who betrayed her the most was her best friend, but really like all of them were single. No one's together. Yeah, they're terrible people, but being a terrible person doesn't necessitate needing to die. So it was such an extreme jump. And like for a second, you maybe could have thought that this was just a metaphorical killing, but no, the crowd reacts. Like there's people who make comments about it. Like it kind of feels like some of the comments from the crowd even are trying to justify the extremeness of the ending. So yeah, no, that definitely put a weird, strange taste in my mouth to end the movie. And it was literally like the last 5 minutes. It really had me, and I was just loving the movie, and then suddenly, bam, something off happened, and I was like, nope, this gets pushed down a bunch. With that still, I would recommend it. It's a good, fun, delightful rom-com with some cool horror stuff that happens, a nice metaphor. All of the actors did a great job, especially Melissa. She crushed it. I've always loved it when she pops up and stuff, and this is no exception. Just be prepared for kind of a strange ending, but otherwise, it's a great experience that is definitely worth a watch. And now for my ranking, I put this at number 47 in the White-like section. And this is out of a total of 89 new movies so far this year.